No excuses for Kyler Murray in 2025. The defense will exponentially help the offense, and we got some rookie numbers to talk about. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast, Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. So here's the thing. I've got something cooked up for you next week. It's going to be awesome. Can I just say that? It's going to be awesome. Now, the one thing that I will mention is what I tried to do is go pick 1 through pick 7, okay, in chronological order from the draft to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's not going to happen due to scheduling conflicts, but next week I will be having on Jay Stevens, host of Locked On Buckeyes, who I've had on for the last 2 years. This will be the third because the Cardinals love to draft Ohio State players. I'll have Isaiah Hole on, who hosts Locked On Wolverines to talk about Will Johnson. I'll have Stephen Willis on, who hosts Locked On Ole Miss to talk about Walter Nolan, and I'll have Spencer McLaughlin on, who hosts Locked On Ducks to talk about the Oregon Duck that the Cardinals drafted. Of course, what is wrong with me? What is Jordan Birch? What is wrong with me? And then I'm going to have Justin Mello on from the Draft Network, who does a fantastic job with videos, with interviews and things like that. He's going to break everything down on Friday to kind of have a, whole summary of what we experienced, what the Arizona Cardinals experienced over the 72 hours last week. It's going to be awesome next week. And then we're going to talk more big picture stuff, but I wanted to do it this way because you deserve getting a deeper dive and not necessarily right after the draft. There's so much noise. There's so many more big picture things to discuss, like the state of the team and what it looks like for 2025. Take a beat. Next week, we'll dive deeper into the draft. It's going to be awesome. There are no excuses for Kyler Murray in 2025. Correct. And I don't think that is going to deter good things from happening. I'm going to compare this right away to Jalen Hurts. Okay. I didn't think I was going to do this. I had a completely different angle through which I wanted to discuss this topic. And I'll still allude to it a little bit later. But what I've said and what I'll continue to say is winning teams don't need Josh Allen numbers to win. Teams don't need 400 passing yards, 4 total touchdowns every week to win. They don't. Some do with that. Most don't, because most quarterbacks just can't do that. What we saw from Jalen Hurts, and this is no knock on him, was he is an elite game manager who is special when the team needs him to be special. They have a great defense. They've got the best run game, and Jalen Hurts made some ridiculous throws in the Super Bowl and leading up to the Super Bowl exactly when the team needed him to do it. And that's what winning quarterback play looks like. Okay? It doesn't need to be Hall of Fame level every week. It doesn't need to be 400 passing yards and 4 total touchdowns. Sometimes it's 16 for 20 for 195, a touchdown and a rushing score. Whatever the team needs is what the quarterback needs to provide. And that's something, a large portion of Kyler Murray's career, he's able to do. But when he's not doing that, it sticks out much more like a sore thumb. Especially in 2021, even 2020, when they started, I think, 6-3, I think, during the COVID year, started 7-0 and 10-2, and then things just dissipate. Things just fly into thin air. And we saw it last year also, okay? When it comes to what Kyler Murray needs to do for this team, he needs to do what the team needs from him at any given point. Whether it's a 3rd and 3 conversion or a must score or must get into field goal range and kick 3 to win, like he did multiple times last year. That's what needs to happen more times than not. You're not asking for a perfect human being. You're asking for a player that wins more games for you than loses. And what people forget, or what people just don't overlook, was the pick 6 against Seattle when it was an ugly game and they couldn't run the ball coming out of the bye week in a game where they could solidify themselves atop the NFC West. That's what people remember. Not the crossing route against San Francisco earlier in the year to Marvin Harrison Jr. that kept the game going on 4th down. Not the great performance in Miami and the game-winning drive to set up the game-winning field goal. Not that. They remember the flip pick 6 against Seattle. They remember the game against Carolina. And they remember the game in Week 17 against the Rams, even though they were completely out of playoff contention at that point. So it's always going to be, and we've learned this now with this, fan base with Kyler Murray. It's split still through year 6 is his floor needs to be higher. And there are zero excuses for that happening with the bolstering of the defense in 2025. The one reason / excuse, fine, but excuses are usually based in less fact than with what the person portraying or speaking of something as an excuse would think. This is a rational, in my opinion, theory that people don't discuss because it'd be throwing a defense under their bus that was undermanned. They play called in a different way than they would have if they had the defense they have this year last year. I said that well before the season started. I've got receipts everywhere. The best defense the Cardinals have in 2024, I said this last year, is their running game. If they can run the ball effectively, if they can eat clock, if they can win time of possession, the defense won't need to be on the field as long, and the team has a better chance to win. What we saw with the defense was Nick Rallis, if you told this is ridiculous, but if you told me Nick Rallis won Defensive Coordinator of the Year last year, I'd be like, okay, it's a little far-fetched, but the dude absolutely got every ounce of sweat times 100 from that defense that an average or below average defensive coordinator would have got. So now when you see what they've got there, and you see the run-it-back mentality on offense, you'll have a level up from Trey Benson. You'll have a level up from Marvin Harrison Jr. You hope the wrinkles will be put in place with Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray to have a level up with Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch or Zay Jones or whatever it is, the third option in the passing attack. There are no excuses. Kyler Murray's better. He's a better football player than when he looks bad. We've seen it so many times. This is how you put it into context. I know going into year 7, it's like, well, how long is it going to take? How long of a runway are you going to give him here? One more year. And I'll leave you with this before we pivot into how important the defense is going to be for the offense next year, as I alluded to a little bit. For those that have listened for a long time, everydayers, thank you, first of all. If this is your first listen to Locked On Cardinals, thank you. Maybe make tomorrow or Monday your second listen. The oh my God moments that I coin from Kyler Murray, it's not like the Hail Murray or anything like that. It's the housing it from 50 yards on the perfect play call against San Francisco early in the season. It's hitting the edge and blowing by the linebacker against the Chargers to blow that game open. It's the first touchdown pass and catch to Marvin Harrison Jr. in the back of the end zone where the tippy toes went down. Those oh my God moments, most quarterbacks can't do. Most quarterbacks on their best day cannot reach that level of talent. The fact that Kyler Murray can is a massive equalizer for when the floor is lower than what you'd expect it to be through year 6. That's why it's so complicated when you talk about him. That's why it's so complicated. Because when he's great, very few quarterbacks of the 32 starting now reach that height. 4, 5. I'm not saying Kyler Murray's a top 10 quarterback every week. I'm saying he can do things that only a handful of quarterbacks in this league can do when he's at his best. It's on him. It's on play calling. It's on everything the Arizona Cardinals as an entity at their best must get, or as an entity must get better at for much more of the series on offense than we saw last year. It was either a bottom 5 offense or a top 5 offense. There was nothing really in the middle. And that's kind of a microcosm of Kyler Murray's career. When he's great, very few can do what he does. Truly, very few can do what he does. I don't care how big he is. Very few people on this planet can do what Kyler Murray does when he's at his best. Very few can reach that height. And if you want to walk away from that, I got nothing for you. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Either way, there's no excuses going into 2025, and I don't think he's going to need any. The defense is going to help the offense exponentially in 2025 and beyond. We'll discuss next why. I'll discuss why next is what I meant. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Amazon and the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your pair of controllers, subscribe or sign in on to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're good to go. Dive into hundreds of premium titles, including EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. With Fire TV Stick 4K, everything's in one place, from Netflix to YouTube and beyond. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. I mean, I'm resigned to the fact that either people don't like Kyler Murray or they do, and there's really nothing that can change that. I try to be as level-headed and rational as possible when talking about it. I just, when you look at the laundry list of starters in the NFL, it's like I can't find more than 11 that I'd maybe rather have than Kyler Murray. Ask your friends. Ask your Giants friends. Ask your Jets friends. Ask your Browns fans. Ask your Browns friends. Like, it could be so much worse. And yes, I directly compare that, the quarterback sense. If Kyler Murray was up for trade tomorrow, they would be offered multiple first-round picks, and there would be 10, 12 teams they would offer for him. That should tell you enough about how valuable he is. Ridiculous. Draft a quarterback. 80% of those don't hit. You want to go through that again? Okay. The defense is going to help the offense exponentially. First, I already talked about this a little bit, and I mentioned this a little bit with Bo yesterday, and it's kind of been a theme throughout. Like, Drew Petzing was handcuffed a little bit, and I think that it was apparent with how conservative he was at times. He didn't need to be conservative because the defense was undermanned talent-wise, just from a roster-building sense. That's not fair to guys who balled out last year. Garrett Williams, Budda Baker, Adrian Taylor Demerson when he got spots. Mac Wilson was great last year. The pass rush was obsolete. It didn't exist. So, it's something like, you see how comfortable I am with you? I'm just taking sips of coffee in the middle. It's like we're sitting on the couch or having coffee or at a bar having a beer. Like, this is what I want to be. Anyways, you can't help but think that at least had some sort of influence on what they did on offense last year. And I'm not using that as a scapegoat, I'm not using that as an excuse for the offense not doing what they should have been doing a lot more than what they did last year. Just kind of seems like you don't want to leave one of the sides of the defense that has less talent out to dry. The defense this year will help the offense. And there's a couple different things that I'm most excited about it. Hopefully you are too. One, this is number one, even though it should be lowest on the triage list, lowest on the importance list, because you don't want to get to fourth down. I could see historic going forward on fourth down numbers for the Arizona Cardinals organization, not comparing to other organizations, but historic numbers for the Cardinals going forward on fourth and short between, anywhere around their own 40 in. Why do you think the Eagles and Lions do it so much? Because their defenses are good. The Lions, it's more the Eagles, but it's like because their defense is elite. The Cardinals defense has the chance to be top 5, top 7 next year. And I don't think that's like, I haven't seen a lot of comments that have refuted that, which is good. Cause of course it has a lot to do with Garrett Williams really emerging as that CB1, even though he plays in the slot, and Will Johnson being healthy and coming in and not necessarily being a lockdown corner week 1, but avoiding the, oh my God, the oh no moments that I've talked about a lot where it's like, oh no, he's not ready to play in the NFL yet. Whoops. The pass rush will be there. The interior defensive line will be there. Like it's shaping up to be a top 10 defense. And it's only going to give the Cardinals more opportunities with fourth downs, especially. I talked about this going into last season. Like it was the same. It was the exact same conversation, but for completely opposite reasons. Like, do you go for it on fourth down more to keep the offense on the field so the defense doesn't have to do as much? Or do you punt? Do you play conservative and try to pin the defense and play the field position game to give the defense a better chance to get a 3 and out, and then in turn give the offense better field position after a 3 and out? This year, it's like if you're on your 50 and it's 4th and 6, instead of pinning a team, do you just go for it? Because if not, and you give your defense a short field, they have a better chance of not giving up points. Like it's going to be a total mind screw. It's going to be a total mind screw. And we're going to find out, within the first 6 weeks or 2 months, like really what this defense is. And that obviously will predicate what they do on fourth down on offense. But another like little cousin to that is I hope this happens. And it should happen. Not just because the defense is better, but because it should happen. Not being as conservative on offense. This can be a run-first offense while highlighting Kyler Murray as the best player. We didn't see that as nearly as much as I wanted to last year. I want Kyler Murray to throw the ball more and throw the ball more with intention, not like dinks and dunks, things like that. I want to see a vertical offense, okay? They've got the weapons. They've got the backs who can catch the ball to the backfield. If you want to have them run swing routes or angle routes, I want to see more wide receiver bubble screens with fat dudes catching the ball and ripping up the field. But I also want to see that like past the short intermediate, past the 5-yard ins, past the 7-yard ins. I want to see more posts. I want to see more flags. I want to see more of what Kyler Murray can do with timing because he's so good at it. And on top of that, to make that possible, I want to see Drew Petzing's next iteration of this offense, where it can unlock the other position players like Michael Wilson, like Greg Dortch, and like Elijah Higgins. If you want to bring him in and have him play the Isaiah Likely role. He was a wide receiver that transitioned into tight end. The dude can catch the ball. The dude can run routes. Like they've got weapons. They just chose not to use last year. Elijah Higgins had maybe the most, no, that's not true. He had a top 5 most iconic touchdown catch last year with the Kyler Murray Steph Curry spin with Elijah Higgins going down and sliding on his knees and catching in the back of the end zone against the Rams. So when I look at it and I'm looking at, okay, the offense was anemic for a large portion of last year. Why? Well, they couldn't run the ball. Okay, so throw the ball more. Oh, but it's a run-first offense, and you don't win by throwing the ball. Sure you can. If you've got enough weapons, they can't defend everybody. If the offensive line can hold up, I don't care. Like, I'd much rather them not force the issue rushing the ball and have Kyler Murray throw the ball 30-plus times. It's not like the big eye-opener for me, and I will continue to discuss this, is Week 12, Seattle. They couldn't run the ball, and the offense was putrid. It couldn't move the ball at all. That should never happen. So if you need to get the passing game to set up the run game going, if you need to invert it that way, do it. They've got the dudes to do it on offense. And the defense is going to help give them so many more opportunities. You hope, and a little honorable mention here is, you hope that they're much more opportunistic and are going to be able to turn over opposing offenses so the Cardinals offense can have many more short fields than they have over the last 4 or 5 years, which will result in more points because the play calling's better. It's not going to be run, false start, timeout, kick a field goal inside the 10 like it was with Cliff for 4 years. the more short field opportunities the defense can provide, the offense is just the icing on the cake. And I have a pretty strong suspicion that we're going to be seeing a lot more of that than we have in the last couple of years. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Rookie numbers. It's fun. Who cares? It's Friday. Next. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. It's there's just I used to not loathe, because I love doing this. Okay. I've actually thought between you and me, just us kids talking, I've thought about getting back into radio because I miss it so much. But so when I say I loathe, I don't like it's all under the umbrella of I love doing this every single day. But it's it used to be, let's put it this way, it used to be tougher between now and list season to talk about this team because there wasn't a lot of positive to talk about. And I used to get lambasted, and I don't say that as a badge of honor or something. 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 was tough because I was negative all the time. And I don't want to say positive things when there's no positive things, but it's hard to hear. And now at least we're having adult conversations with real life implications and looking at a ceiling and a floor simultaneously that haven't been this high in a long time. Even in 2021, it was Fugazi. I knew it week one. Wasn't different. This is different. This is different. Rookie numbers and vet numbers. My favorite. So Will Johnson's going to wear 0. Jordan Burch is going to wear 52. Denzel Burke, 29. Keten Crawford's going to wear 36. Hayden Connor, offensive line, is going to wear 58. Walter Nolan's going to wear 97. Cody Simon will wear number 50. Josh Sweat is going to wear number 10. I don't really like that. Calais Campbell's going to get his 93 back. Jacoby Brissett is going to wear 7. Can I be honest with you really quickly? I only did this segment because seeing Will Johnson in wearing number 0 is going to titillate me the entire time he's an Arizona Cardinal. Are you kidding me? If he's a lockdown corner, he's wearing 0. Give me a break. Agent 0. I know that was Gilbert Arenas' number. Or that was Gilbert Arenas' nickname when he wore 0 when he played in the NBA. There's so much fodder that can be used with number 0. 0 touchdowns given for number 0. One stat, he had more pick sixes in college than touchdowns given up. I don't know if you'd seen that. I saw it, and then I forgot, and then I saw it again. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've got to mention that. Walter Nolan wearing 97. I love that. It used to be, was that Cam Thomas's number? Man, the Cardinals had some bad drafts. Woohoo! Man, they had some bad drafts. Josh Sweat wearing 10 kind of irks me a little bit. I don't know. That's not a pass rusher's number. It's DeAndre Hopkins' number. This is going into it's Friday. I don't care. We're just going to talk. I had 2 other things I want to talk about. I'm not going to do it today. When people say math is red and science is green and physics is blue, those things. Thursday is purple, things like that. It's kind of like that with NFL numbers too. It's just number 10 is DeAndre Hopkins. It's not Josh Sweat. Number 97 is much more Walter Nolan than Cam Thomas. It's just something like that. Math is red. Jordan Burch, 52, makes sense. Hayden Connor, offensive line Texas, 58, makes sense. Cody Simon, 50, yeah, that makes sense in the middle of the field. Jacoby Brissett, 7, is probably the most player to number. That's the match made in heaven. Why? I don't know. Who cares? Science is green. Jacoby Brissett, 7. DeAndre Hopkins is 10. Will Johnson, 0. That's the best one. Will Johnson being 0, 100%. 100%. Math is green. Nope. Math is red. Thursday is purple. Will Johnson 0, Jacoby Brissett 7. I don't think I've ever said anything smarter than that. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you Monday.